My goal today is to build initiatives, tasks, and milestones in Scoreboard. I've already logged in and have landed at my homepage. Before I build them from scratch, I'll review an example of where they might come in handy. I'll start by selecting Dashboards, then expand the Demo org and select Marketing. As the head of Marketing, I have a dashboard that is tracking two of our key KPIs, ad clicks and leads. Month by month throughout 2018, I watched the performance of both KPIs tank. Unfortunately, I didn't have the budget to do anything about it. All I could do is dry the tears from my eyes daily and wait for funding to open up in January 2019. However, when January rolled around, I was ready to take action. Using initiatives within Scoreboard, I created an initiative called Increase Quantity of Ad Clicks. My expectation was that if we could increase our ad clicks, we could positively impact our quantity of leads. Beneath the initiative, I created two tasks and one milestone. My plan was to have my right-hand man, Tom Keating, spend the month of January thoroughly researching an appropriate ad campaign and target audience for our ads, and granted him $2,500 to complete each task. On February 15th, I was planning to meet with him to discuss his findings and make a final determination of our ad campaign and audience. To facilitate the meeting, I was planning to discuss it over a nice long lunch, allotting $200 for it. Throughout the month of January, Tom provided updates on each task. On the research ad headline task, Tom provided an update on January 16th, alerting me that he was 55% done with the task and had used only $1,000 of the $2,500 allotted to it. On January 31st, he provided a final update, alerting me that he was 100% done with the task and was able to save us $300. Unfortunately, on the research target audience task, Tom had a tougher go of it. Halfway through January, he was behind schedule and over budget. The end of January came and went with no update, but on February 8th, just 1 week before our scheduled big luncheon, he advised me that the task was complete, but $300 over budget. Thankfully, the other tasks recognized the same amount in saving, so the initiative on the whole was on budget. On February 15th, we did connect, and Tom outlined a terrific game plan for our ad campaign and target audience. We celebrated for hours and used every dollar of our $200 allotted for the lunch. In the days that followed, we immediately put Tom's plan in action. Within Dashboards, I also put together a new dashboard named Increase Ad Clicks and Leads to closely scrutinize the performance of the KPIs and the initiative. Up at the top, month by month, I was overjoyed to see the nauseating downward trend stop immediately. By the end of February, just 2 weeks after Tom and I started implementing the game plan, both KPIs were trending up. That trend continued in March. Leads even escaped the red for the first time since August 2018. By the end of April, I was beside myself with glee as both ad clicks and leads not only both went green, but I realized a lifelong goal of having leads hit 10% of ad clicks, with 150 leads and 1,500 ad clicks. At the end of May, we threw a company-wide celebration as both KPIs continued to skyrocket and our sales went through the roof. To further pat Tom and I on the back, I put together the rest of the dashboard for upper management to illustrate that the boon in performance was completely driven by the increased quantity of ad clicks initiative we ran in January. It was completed on time and on budget. even though one of the tasks ran a bit late and over budget. Okay, with that, I'd like to take a step all the way back and explain how this was put together. Back in January, I went to Initiatives and then selected New Initiative Item. I gave it a name. This time I'll call it Increased Quantity of Ad Clicks Training. I made sure the type was set to Initiative and left the start date, due date, and total budget blank since I had sub-items. I then typed a description, which I'll leave blank for the sake of time, and then assigned it to myself. I then clicked Create in the bottom right. I then clicked on the new initiative, selected New Initiative Item again, typed Research Ad Headline, this time changed it to a task, and assigned a start date of January 1st, a due date of January 31st, and then provided a budget of $2,500. I also gave it a description, but this case I'll leave it blank again, and I assigned it to Tom Keating. I then clicked Create. To create the second task, I then typed Research Target Audience, left it again as a task, applied the same start and due dates, same budget. Once again, leaving the description blank. I assigned this to Tom and then clicked Create in the bottom right. I then created the Define Add an Audience milestone, assigned it a due date of February 15th, and gave it a total budget of $200. And since this was for the luncheon, I assigned it to both Tom and myself and clicked Create. At that point, I then clicked Done and turned things over to Tom to do the research and keep me updated on the progress. He did that by clicking on each task, selecting Status Updates, selecting Add Status Update, selecting a date, like January 16th, a percent complete, and a budget spent to date. He then clicked Add. When he did that, the schedule and total budget boxes were then updated with red or green colors, which is driven by an earned value management algorithm that Scoreboard uses to calculate projections for both. This was a great tool for me throughout January, as I was able to see that research target audience was running late and over budget, which unfortunately prompted a few phone calls between Tom and I. To simplify the navigation at the initiative level, I added two related items by clicking Add in the bottom right. I then selected Scorecard Item, and selected Add Clicks, and selected Add, and I would have done the same for leads. I was then able to click directly and get taken down to the scorecards view, where I could smile with glee as I saw the actual values continue to increase February through May. An automatic backlink was also established within scorecards to take me back to the initiative. Last but not least, I created the dashboard to help facilitate the monitoring of both KPIs and the initiative. I selected Dashboards, and selected New Dashboard. Gave it a name, and I'll just call it Training, and then selected Create. I then selected the plus icon to add a widget. And then selected Speedometer and added both KPIs. And then clicked onto the dashboard and adjusted the location of each. I then clicked on the plus icon again. This time selected Chart, selected Scorecard Item, and selected Add clicks, and selected Add. I then selected the chart, repositioned it, and resized it. I then selected the settings icon in the top right and went to an option Edit Chart. I then selected Add Series to introduce the second KPI by clicking on it, and then select Done. To avoid a scale conflict, then selected Axis on the right and clicked Done. I then went back to the plus icon, again added a chart, but this time selected Initiative and added each task. And then clicked onto the dashboard, reposition the charts, maybe resize, and then worked my way to the last item, which again was handled by a plus icon, and this time selecting Timeline, selecting the initiative level, and clicking Add. And drag that down on the dashboard, reposition, resize, and see that this provided a nice Gantt chart with the initiative, tasks, and milestone. When I was happy with the way everything looked, I selected Save, and then Done.